something called QAnon.
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 QAnon. QAnon.
Twitter has taken aim at the conspiracy group QAnon.
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 Twitter is removing thousands of accounts linked to a conspiracy theory group.
QAnon. QAnon.
QAnon.
We stand together as proud patriots who deeply love our country. This is the last stand on earth. This is about this country. This is about the future of our children. Time is now. Get fired up. Let us remember the sacrifices of those who have gone before us. And believe in the principles of freedom, democracy, and liberty.
Patriots are in the building! Let me hear you! Where we go on? Where we go on? Where we go on? Flags out! Flags out!
What's up, Patriots?
Hello, Patriots, Anons, and Digital Soldiers.
This is Carrie.
This is Joel.
And we are the Quiet Boys.
Of Truth. So a big shout out to CB at CB722 on Twitter. Awesome video. Thank you so much for putting that out there.
Yeah,
if you
that
guys
was
aren't
really
following
well
them,
done. Love
go
that.
give them a follow.
Definitely. And also a huge shout out to our subscribers.
Yeah,
we made our
you
goal
guys
of
rock.
817. Woohoo!
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you guys for all of your support. We really, really appreciate you.
Yes, we do. So today's episode is about
QAnon hit pieces.
Taking
QAnon everywhere in the news.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look, they are running stories on QAnon, guys.
But honestly, it is no big shocker because we were told this was going to happen.
Definitely. And even knowing what we know and knowing how ridiculous they are, I can't help but it makes my blood start boiling when I hear the things that they're saying. Even though I know better. I know better.
Yeah, but it's funny looking at some of the articles. For us who've been following Q since the beginning, I mean, you just have to laugh at the pathetic attempts, you know. But we also have to see it from the side of the people who don't know what QAnon is and have never heard of it.
Exactly, and that's when it gets dangerous, because that's when it gets a little scary, guys, because there are literally people who sit at home and they never change the channel from CNN or MSNBC or one of those guys that are constantly feeding them all of these lies. You know,
they're not just getting a partisan viewpoint. At that point, if they're watching CNN or MSNBC, they're getting propaganda, guys.
Exactly. Not only are they not getting the actual news, they're not hearing about what's actually happening in the world. They're not hearing about all the things that Trump is doing to benefit humanity. They are not hearing about what's happening to the children of our world.
Exactly.
Right? They're not hearing any of the real news. All they're hearing is propaganda and lies. And these people believe what they hear.
These people believe the news anchors on TV are their best friends, and they feel like they know them in real life, but that's not true.
Right, so today we're going to go through just a few of the many, many lies that are being put out by the mainstream media propaganda arm of the Chinese Communist Party. First one comes from CNN.com, and this one is titled, QAnon is conspiratorial, dangerous, and growing, and we're talking about it all wrong.
And look who it's put out by. It's put out by little Brian Stelter. Thanks, Mark Dice. That's all I hear.
Oh my God.
That is all I hear when I hear Brian Stelter now.
That's right.
I just want to be a real boy. He's such a little dummy.
QAnon is a virtual cult that celebrates President Trump and casts Democratic politicians and other elites as evil child abusers. Aspects of the cult are downright delusional. Last year, an FBI office warned that Q adherents are a domestic terrorism threat. Despite all of that, or maybe because of all of that, this dangerous nonsense seems to be spreading. It is cropping up in congressional races and national news coverage. In recent weeks, many observers of the online information ecosystem have written with growing concern about the mainstreaming of QAnon. Reporters like Kevin Roose of the New York Times and Ben Collins of NBC have said that the conspiracy theory is in much wider circulation than polite society wants to admit. On Thursday, the Wall Street Journal's Deepa
Seetharaman.
Yeah. Wrote that Q-aligned groups have exploded in popularity on Facebook and Instagram since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. Some of the spread is attributable to sheer boredom, it would seem. Okay, and I'm just gonna scroll down a little bit. Down here to a system of radicalization. On Twitter Thursday morning, disinformation researcher Molly McHugh argued that TV news is not doing a good job covering this corrosive conspiracy or explaining it. You can't just call it insane. That doesn't explain why it is cognitive cancer.
So I asked her to elaborate. Here's what she wrote to me. QAnon offers its adherents an addictive alternative reality that requires their participation and, through this participation, draws them into an elaborate architecture of the conspiracy. It exploits the sense that something is broken in our society, but rather than focus on understanding these social fractures and healing them, QAnon instead fixates on the pursuit of enemies and villains described in such extreme terms that any action, either by adherents or identified champions like President Trump, becomes justifiable. By drawing on the culture and value system, Q adherents have justified violent attacks.
Okay.
Bullshit.
So, I was thinking about this paragraph a lot today. And what I came up with was that what this does, what she just said, is it attempts to make people believe that all of the things that are wrong in our world are things that we could easily fix using the system that we currently have in place. Right, Joel?
That's what they're trying to say.
That's what they're trying to say, right?
They're wrong.
This also serves to trivialize the fact that the things that are wrong are so wrong that we are past the point of trying to fix them. When we're talking about our children being tortured and abused, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, being tortured, abused, and killed ritualistically and by all the elite powerful members of the ruling system, we are past the point of using all the normal avenues of effecting change. For it is not merely change that we are after. It is the complete overhaul of the entire system and everyone in it. Who participates in it, is aware of it, or gets paid because of it. Who allows this to happen to our children. I know I just went off, guys. But that paragraph, that's what this person is saying to me. I'm sorry. Woo!
Yeah, it's, these attacks are just gonna get hotter and hotter, guys, until they actually ask the question, not about the question. When they directly ask the question, until that point, these hit pieces in the articles and from MSM is just gonna keep getting worse. Basically,
right,
what they're going to try to do is twist it to the point where they're going to say that people who follow Q, they're going to try to switch it, and they're going to project, and they're going to try to be very sly about it, mark my words. They're going to make it seem like once all this stuff starts coming out in the open, that it was all QAnon, the QAnon followers that were all guilty of it and not them, because that's what they do. They project.
They are, actually, what you just said reminds me, let's read that first sentence again. It says, QAnon offers its adherents an addictive alternative reality that requires their participation. And through this participation, draws them blah, 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 blah. That's exactly what they do. Remember we talked about this with Serene and Des.
Yeah.
All of the things that they do, all of the symbols that they use, all of the things that they're putting in movies and on clothing and in advertising and everything that they're putting out there is exactly that. They're requiring our participation. They're requiring that we are a part of what all of the sick things that they're doing. So that's exactly what you just said. That right there is projection.
Yeah. So we're going to burn through a couple more articles here real quick, guys, to kind of show you like how bad it's starting to get. This article comes from the New York Times, and now this article was also published the 13th of this month. Guys, there have been so many Q hit pieces published since the beginning of this month. You can tell they're in a fight for their lives, because the more that's getting exposed, the more hit pieces on QAnon that are coming out.
Oh yeah, they're spending way more time talking about that than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. They won't talk to Joe Biden. He can't answer questions.
Definitely not.
They all get hustled out of the room before they can ask him anything. Did you see that
Right?
video?
Did you guys see that?
Man.
Oh,
I'll see if I can
man.
find it and put it up here.
Thank you. Come on, guys. Thank you, guys. Come on, you guys. Come on, let's go. Come on, thank you. Come on, guys. Thank you. Come on, guys. Let's go. Come on, guys. Alright, come on.
Anyway, okay, so this article is titled "The Rise of QAnon and What Else You Need to Know Today." So let's go down a little bit.
Except for the actual things that you need to know.
Yeah,
today.
yeah. What they think you need to
man.
know. You know, what they think they need to lie to you about. So I'll check out this awesome Patriot right here.
That guy is
Yeah.
he's yelling. He must be violent.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, but that's what they, like, literally,
man.
I'm sure it says something about that. So stupid.
Whenever I see articles and hit pieces like this, I look at the titles underneath the picture and I just imagine the person that wrote it was like, a man wearing a QAnon shirt at
A
a
white man.
pro-police rally
A white man, I'm sure they would draw attention to that fact.
in Brooklyn on Sunday. Like, come on, get real. Who cares? So anyway, it says, over 3 years, the far-right conspiracy theory QAnon has spread from the outskirts of the internet into the what, Patriots? Mainstream. Yes, we've been told we're going mainstream. Time to be careful. And by next year, it will most likely make its way into Congress. The QAnon supporter is almost sure to be elected after winning a Republican House primary runoff in Georgia this week.
It's a remarkable rise for a group that believes in, among other things, a ring of Satan-worshipping child trafficking criminals led by prominent Democrats. We spoke with our colleague Kevin Roos, who has covered QAnon extensively, to get a sense of how the movement expanded its reach.
Kevin Roos. Give me a break. Social media platforms are a big part of it. It's still very fringe in terms of its ideology, but not in terms of its scale, Kevin said. We've seen QAnon Facebook groups swell to hundreds of thousands of members, and they are routinely driving conversations on social media.
This week, NBC News reported that an internal Facebook investigation found thousands of QAnon-supporting groups and pages with millions of members and followers. Twitter permanently suspended thousands of accounts associated with the movement last month, and TikTok has blocked searches for QAnon-related hashtags. Now, why is it that they are able to just come out and say this as if it is nothing, that Twitter is permanently suspending thousands of accounts of people that are just trying to
Well, if it's
use
a
their
conspiracy,
their right to
why
free
are
speech.
they trying to, like, shut it down so hard?
Exactly, and they're just coming out and telling
I
us.
mean, come on.
saying, like,
how many conspiracies have been out there for how long, and they've never tried to shut any of those down? But the minute Q comes out, and they're
exactly.
like,
and
oh
they're
crap.
just, like, blatant about it.
You know
They're
why,
like,
guys? It's because the people at the top do realize that Q is very, very real
oh yeah.
and presents a very real threat to them and their whole society, false society that they've built.
Their whole little glass house.
Yeah, because Q and us are starting to throw stones at it. And they've built
analogy
it.
there.
They've built it so tall, and they're living
But-
on the top floor that when that thing comes down,
Oh yeah.
it's gonna
Ooh.
wreck the
But
world.
wait, just to be clear, those of us who are in the QAnon movement don't actually throw rocks or do anything violent,
No.
for that matter. We just
Absolutely
need to
not.
make sure that that's very, very clear. That this is the most
No.
peaceful movement.
QAnon is not
could
about
possibly
violence,
imagine.
guys. QAnon's
No.
not about violence and does not endorse violence at
Right.
all.
So the stone throwing is merely hypothetical.
Allegorical.
Allegorical. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's just a metaphor. It's not like
It's
we're
an
really going to go
analogy.
throw rocks at
Analogy.
people. Okay, it's an analogy. We're not going to really go throw rocks at people because that's what a person who doesn't understand something would do. Somebody like Antifa would do that.
Yeah.
and George Soros and Hillary Clinton. They would do it. In fact, they promote it, not QAnon.
They pay people to do that.
Yeah, they pay people to do it because
so.
they're too afraid. They use people. Anyway, so let's get on to the next article here, guys.
We had to include this one, guys. Check out this title. QAnon is running amok, and the time has come for interventions. Jeez. Family members may be the last line of defense as the amorphous online conspiracy movement attempts to break into the mainstream.
This is like great because I love this picture, how they've got the family out front for like a
at
Christmas portrait.
time.
And then you have the guy in the background who's holding the Q sign, our Patriot back there. I love it. Like photobombing them. I know this is Photoshop, but I mean, that is hilarious. I
look
freaking
at all
love
the
it.
normal happy family members
Who are
in their
about to
cute
have
little
their
sweaters.
About to have their minds blown by being red-pilled. You know?
That's the crazy one over there, guys. The crazy one with the Q
I know. I
sign.
saw that guy at the rally. I'm like, whoever that dude is, man, you rock. Freaking rocking, supporting
Oh,
Q.
it's so funny. I love it. So funny. Okay, let's read a little bit of this article.
Okay. Imagine it's Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner, the one where the entire extended family shows up. There's a little corner of the long dinner table where you put the relatives most likely to be awkward, so they can chat among themselves.
Jeez.
You know who they are. The uncle and cousins who go on rants about Trump's righteous war against an international cabal of pedophiles or Hillary Clinton's imminent arrest. Everyone else in the family remembers the stir that corner caused when they claimed that Tom Hanks had a sex slave. No one with any sense took them seriously. Picking a fight would sap your energy and divide the clan.
Wow.
But guys, you can see like the hit pieces that are coming out. Sorry, that picture. I love it. It's like a best picture.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was posted August 8th of 2020. Ugh.
Yeah, and this is only what, 2 or 3 of all of the hit pieces that have come out
Right.
since the beginning of August. I mean, there's like
a lot, guys. You just got to type in
tons,
QAnon in Google and just go to the news section.
Yesterday I was forced to watch MSNBC for about an hour.
I'm sorry.
That I can never get back of my life, and they talked extensively about QAnon, and just a lot of the same rhetoric that we're seeing in these articles is exactly what they were saying repeatedly on MSNBC yesterday, along with, Trump being racist and just all the other stuff that they're pushing.
Just a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
It's because they're terrified, guys. That's the real reason. And I also did want to say, for those of you who follow us on Twitter, you guys have probably heard, about the suspension of big accounts. Guys, they're going after the big ones because they're able to reach more people. However, smaller accounts, it's our turn to rise up. They can't stop us all. Say what you have to say.
Exactly.
If they silence you, come back. That's what we're all doing, guys. I mean, we've had followers taken away from us.
Right, but we'll all find each other again.
Yes, we will.
Just
Yes,
keep
we
rising.
will. Yes, we will. Keep coming back until this battle is said and done. We have to keep our presence known. They can't silence us forever.
So, I have some closing thoughts.
Yeah.
Be alright if I share those?
Yeah, go for it.
Just about these hit pieces. So, what I'm seeing here is that these QAnon hit pieces serve to not only portray Q followers as crazy conspiracy theorists, but they also serve to try and convince people that QAnon is a fringe group on the outskirts of the political scene, followed by only a small gathering of disillusioned people who only happened upon the movement as they sat at home during the quarantine, paranoid and bored out of their minds. They serve to make Q followers feel like they're in the minority, and to make their leftist family members truly worry about them, convinced that they have lost their minds and renewed in the belief that they must talk some sense into them, must have an actual intervention, equating following Q to being addicted to some Schedule 1 narcotic like meth or heroin.
Oh my God.
Finally, these hit pieces serve to let the puppet masters know that their puppets are still falling in line, still obedient servants to the pedophiles and their paychecks, still willing to sacrifice the children of our world and the good people who are trying to protect them, all to get their piece of the pie, all so that they may partake of all the worldly desires that Satan has to offer.
Yeah. It's guys, the spiritual battle is very real.
It definitely is.
Very real.
But you know what? The good news is, if this right here, this picture, if that's the norm, that means there's at least one
in every
family.
You know, actually, we know there's more than one in our family, so that's good.
Way more than one in most families. So that's the good news.
In fact, in our case, on this side, I think it might be the whole family. But anyway, and that's good to hear, guys.
Yeah.
People are waking up. People are waking up in mass. They can't stop us all. And the biggest thing that these idiots don't understand in the mainstream media, these idiots, they don't understand that they're going after all these big accounts, trying to silence them, trying to hit people, shut them down for talking about Q. They are going to be very shocked when the silent majority rises up.
Absolutely.
They are going to be shocked at how big we are. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Let's keep them in the dark about that. I mean, you might as well. They don't understand.
Exactly.
They're kicking a beehive here, man. They're kicking a wasp nest.
For sure. So anyway, guys, stay strong. Know that we're all here and we're all in this fight.
Yes. And don't forget, guys, if you want to help support me and Carrie and the work we're doing, here's one way you can do it. We have opened up a Teespring account, and we have the Gold Q collection, so you can also show your support of Q. Let's show them how many of us there actually are, guys.
Definitely. And this is live today, guys. August 17th. Woo woo!
And we will have more designs and stuff coming out. Stuff like that.
So this is just the classic gold Q. I love that.
We put the gold Q on the face mask, so if you have to wear one, you can show this.
Seriously, it definitely guaranteed to spark a lot of conversations, because people are going to ask you, what does that Q mean? Like, what is that? Why do you have a gold Q on your shirt? And our next live show that we do, we will show off so I ordered the tank top for me and a t-shirt for Joel. So we'll show you guys what they look like.
Anyway, guys, if you happen to be new here, if you're enjoying our content, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, toggle that little notification bell so you're notified when we put out new videos. And as always, Patriots, Qanons, and digital soldiers, please do not forget, where we go one, we go on.
Love you, Patriots. God bless.